And a very good afternoon. Welcome to the Saturday preview with me, Dave Massey, for the Daily Punt. Really good racing tomorrow. I'm doing this at about 4:10 Friday afternoon, having done Friday's cards for Ascot and Wetherby, and there is one at Newmarket as well. I should stop betting on the flat now at this time of the year, but I can't resist that last race at Newmarket tomorrow. I've looked at the race and there's one at a massive price. I quite fancy. Hills have put some early prices up. Come to that in time, but Ascot and Wetherby are going to be the main sort of focus of attention. I have done the Ascot card for the Sporting Life tomorrow. Give me a good one. Normally I get Fakenhams and Huntingdons and whatnot. Not that I don't like those cards. I do like them, but every now and then it's nice to get a good card to get stuck into. And they gave me the Ascot card today, so I've done all. I said I've done all 7 races. I haven't. I've done the first 6, and the 7th race, the bumper, has been done by my good friend Roy Delagi, who was bored of doing Newmarket, which is why we sort of swapped, really. He's done the bumper and I did the last at Newmarket because he was doing that card. So anyway, so don't blame me. If you look at the bumper and he gets it completely wrong, don't blame me. He says there's a good thing in there. The one he's put up's a good thing. So anyway, Ascot card tomorrow. Prices are just starting to go up with Bet365, which is quite nice. 12.25 kick off with this conditional jockeys novice handicap hurdle. Market's probably got it about right, although I think I'd probably have Mason Jar and North of the Wall probably together at the front of the market, and they've gone 5-2 North of the Wall for Mason Jar. I've actually put up Eclair de Sablon on the Sporting Life. He's third in at 11-2, which I think is entirely fair. I was quite impressed with him at Exeter, actually. Looks a real sort of galloping type. As long as he gets to the front here, I think, because he tried to make all Exeter. I think that's going to be the key. I think get him to the front and get him, Brian Carvin, get him jumping, then he's got a good chance of making all. But 11-2 is the right price rather than overpriced, I think. I'd have him third in, and again, I put him in at around about sort of 5. Then you've got a novice hurdle where Echo's been put in odds on favourite. The each way angle that I thought in the race, Financial Conduct, is only an 8 chance. I was hoping we might get a bit bigger. So again, I think the market's probably got the novice hurdle about right. I think Echo's probably a step above these, and even though he's got a penalty to carry 4-6 is again probably where I'd have him. And then we get on some absolutely nightmare handicaps. 5 the field for the novices limited handicap, and they put Ping Shu in at the head of the market now, and you can get 6-1 Ping Shu. Now that's one of those prices that could look very, very stupid in 24 hours time, because Ping Shu definitely has the ability to beat this lot hollow, but he is making mistakes over fences. He's got to pick his feet up, I think. And I don't think soft ground tomorrow is particularly what he wants at the moment. So with that, I sort of, you start looking for something to bet. And the one that I've put up on the Sporting Life is already blue across the board on Oddschecker, which it's really annoying when I find one and it starts going blue before I've even had a chance to put it up. But on the slopes, Chris Gordon, Tom Cannon only just gave best in the closing stages at Utoxeter. I saw him a couple of times last year, and he's going to definitely make a chaser. And I thought he jumped really well first time up at Utoxeter. Even when he was in short, he was clever, which he was a couple of times. And as I say, he only really gave best from the last against some useful horses that day. With that under his belt and the fact that it will be soft ground tomorrow, that won't bother him at all. I think the trip's ideal, and if they can get him out front and popping away, then I thought he was a big price actually to beat these. As I say, the 14's already gone, the 14 and 16. There's 12 about, which I'm going to have to go and take when I come off this. I think that's still a fair price. I'd have him single figures certainly, and in front of 1 or 2 of these. I'd have him in front of Dr. Dex, who's a 7 chance, and I'd probably have him in front of Darling Molte, he too's a 7 chance. I'd have him in front of those definitely. So see how that market ends up tomorrow. But for me, on the slopes, his value is still at 12-1 in that 135. Then we've got the 210, the Burn Group Handicap Chase. Again, take your pick. 11-2 the field. Loads of pace on here. Speredek's going to want to go from the front, and he's not the only one. Imperial Presence can lead as well, and there are 1 or 2 others that can go from the front. If Speredek can get off the front and get him out the gate and jump those first 2 in the lead, he might take some pegging back, even with this welter burden that he's got. He is a class animal. The rain that's coming can only help him. He goes well fresh. He went well fresh last year. He was second. He's second to Cade Delan, not in this race, but in the Ascot meeting that's at the end of the month. And there's not a lot between them on form again. Now, Cade Delan is a little bit a little bit worse off at the weights with Speredek. I think, if I'm right in saying, I think it's about to the tune of £5. I'm going from memory there, so apologies if I'm wrong, but he's slightly worse off at the weights. But he will get the race run to suit, because he'll be sitting out the back. And if they do go hard early, you can see Catalan coming through again. But again, at the prices, the one I'm going to play is right down the bottom, Cap St Vincent, or Cap Sans Vansons, as the commentator called him at, I think it was Simon Holt at Exeter. Cap Sans Vansons, which was hilarious. I thought was quite hilarious. I was really taken with Cap St Vincent at Exeter again. Just travelled like the best horse all the way through that race and was coming to win it. I would have won it anyway, but for the fall of another, I think it 2 out, was getting on top anyway, and did nothing but gallop to the line. And the way that he's travelled there suggests that the faster they go here, the better his chance. Won't mind soft ground. Improving horse at the foot of the weight, still the best in front of him to come. And I thought 10-11 to 1 is a fair price for him to beat some generally exposed but classy sort. The exception to that is the favourite, the one that they put in his favourite here, The Last Day, who at the moment rather falls into the could be anything bracket from Evan Williams' yard. Winner on his final start last year. Really, we've got sort of no idea where we are with him. He's another one that's sort of unexposed, could just, could improve another chunk here and make mincemeat of these. But I think at the prices, I'd rather play Cap St Vincent with fitness absolutely assured and the ground no problem. He'll do for me. 245 is the Sodexo Hurdle. Again, there's going to be pace on here thanks to my old friend Gumball, but unfortunately Gumball isn't going to have his ground, so we'll have to wait for another day with Gumball. There are 1 or 2 others as well. Ajdali will probably be up there from the word go, and there was another one as well I thought would want to be pushing on. So there's going to be some pace here. There will be pace, and again, I think it might pay to look for something just to sort of set off the pace and come through. The obvious ones are, at the head of the market, but I say at the head of the market, I mean, it's 6.5 the field again. These are nightmare handicaps tomorrow. Ajdali, it didn't really go on, I thought, last year. Won first time up at Market Raising, I think it was, and they never really sort of ran to that level throughout the season without progressing. I mean, it's early days yet, it could go on. Lisp is absolutely bang solid. Ascot's his track. This is his trip. It goes well fresh. I know he's got top weight, but he is a class animal. You'd be hard pushed to kick him out of the frame, I think. The money's already come for Jolly's cracked it, presumably because he's only, I think, £1 higher than his first run last year when he won first time out, and then completely lost his form after that. He too likes Ascot, blindingly obvious on form. Red Force One's on the drift a little bit, which I'm not surprised about. Only had the 3 starts for Paul Nicholls. Won at Fakenham. It wasn't much of a race, but I mean, presumably they wouldn't be coming here if they didn't know they had a decent horse. But again, the one that I put up on the Sporting Life, you know me, I like a price, and I did think Jacquemart is too big for a horse that's really only had a handful of handicap starts. Jacquemart's one of these horses that he's just sort of quietly going along and slowly progressing run by run, and no one's really sort of picking up on the fact. He won a novice hurdle at Newton Abbot back in the summer, and he beat 3 decent ones that day, 3 reasonable horses that day. He was in a length of 2 chance, beat Rococo River, who probably would have won over fences at Exeter had he stood up next time, and a couple of 3rd and 4th as well. And the comment that he gets that day, track leaders, lead turning in, stayed on well comfortably, won by 10 lengths, and I marked him down as one to follow there. Didn't really happen for him at Market Raising, in the Prelude Hurdle or whatever they're calling it these days, but that listed hurdle in September, it didn't really happen for him there. He was already beaten when he was hampered at the last spot. Then he showed that was all wrong when he was third to Torpillo at Chepstow last time out in the 4-year-old hurdle, like listed 4-year-old hurdle. Now, given that Torpillo was all the rage at Cheltenham last week, they thought that was going to absolutely hose up, and it might well have done had it not been for a bit of a brains freeze from Darragh Jacob going up the inside when really the outside was the place to go. But nevertheless, that was a nice run from Jacquemart, doing all of his best work at the finish over 2 mile that day. And again, if you look at the race, both the race and the comments sort of marry up. At the back, still only moderate 7th and urges along 2 out. Good progress to go 3rd between last 2, stayed on well, too much to do. The faster they go up front here, the better Jacquemart's chance at the end. It's got no problem. That was on soft ground, so I don't think the ground tomorrow is going to be any issue for him at all. And he just looks overpriced for a horse that only had a handful of handicap starts. You get 33 on one about him. We're getting extra places as well. I think he's got to have some sort of an each way chance tomorrow. I really do. I'm almost half tempted as well. I shall probably have a small each way bet on my old friend Man of Plenty. Yes, I know. I'm very sorry for those of you that have been following me now for the best part of 12, 18 months and what have you. But listen, this horse owes us nothing, and we know exactly what they'll do with Man of Plenty. He'll be held up out the back. He'll travel like the wrath of God through the race. He'll come there on the outside, turning in. He'll trade a lot shorter than he should be doing before he sort of levels out, runs on, finishes 4th, 5th. Now you can get 40 to 1 about him. And you look last year at the number of times he did us a massive favour when he's the sort of horse to play with extra places. He's your ideal extra place horse, because he don't win these races, but what he does do is in these big field handicaps is the same thing every single time. Maybe he wants a bit further these days. That's not guaranteed, but he's off a mark of 123. That's his last winning mark, by the way, 123. He's now back down to his last winning mark when he hosed up at Sandown last December by 7 lengths. But you look how many times he runs well in these big field handicaps, finishing sort of 4th, 5th, 6th. He's always thereabouts. So I tell lies, off 127 tomorrow, not 123, so he's £4 high. I do apologise. But he always runs his race, and I will, if there's some 50 to 1 kicking around a bit later on, I'll be having a little bit each way, 4 and 5 places in him as well. But Jacquemart, I say, so the 2 rags tomorrow in that race, the 2 outsiders, I think are the 2 interesting ones. The 320, my word, it doesn't get any easier, does it, the Sodexo? They've gone for the field here. Vindication, obviously a blindingly obvious one as a sort of second season novice. But of the second season novices, I prefer Mr. Malarkey, because I think this will be run again at a really good pace. Mr. Malarkey strikes me as the sort that's going to end up wanting 3-2, 3-4 in the end. He's a real thorough stayer, Mr. Malarkey. Did nothing but improve last year. Ended up the year finishing second at Aintree, and I forget what 2 now. I was looking this morning, but basically did nothing but improve last year. If he's ready to go first time up, that's going to be the key. It's possible he'll need the run. Kildesart, that's the one I was thinking of. Sorry guys, it was Kildesart at Aintree. The question is whether he's going to need the run or not. He did win first time up last year. It was only a little race at Plumpton, but nevertheless it does show that he can go all right fresh. Tom Skidmore running for Colin Tizard tomorrow. No problem with that. I like Mr. Malarkey's chance here, especially on this ground. I looked at Relentless Dreamer as a backup, but again, blew across the board on Oddschecker already. The question with Relentless Dreamer is whether he'll bounce or not off that first run after 12 months, or I think it was quite a way. Yeah, 12 months. It was third to Ballyoptic at Chepstow. We probably, even though he's only 10, listen at me, even though he's 10, we might not have yet seen the best of Relentless Dreamer. There might be a bit more to come from him this season, I think, in these veterans chases and whatnot. Because he is still fairly lightly raced for his age. But it's a question to me whether he bounces or not. And I wanted a bit bigger than 40, and I was hoping they'd sort of miss him and go, get 20 and bigger. But at 14, I can let it go. I'll probably just bet Mr. Malarkey. I think that he's a fair price. We're already well into this video, and I've only got about 5 minutes left to talk about Wetherby now, so we'll get on to that. Again, some terrific races at Wetherby tomorrow. Hoping Lady Buttons, my old friend Lady Buttons, wins the mares. I won't be betting her at 7-4. I think that's plenty short enough. The race before, the handicap chase, I'm nearly talking myself into a bet here, and the bet is the bottom one, Oak Vintage, of Phil Kirby's, mainly because Wetherby's his track. His form's very in and out, but on a going day he's hard to catch around here. He might get taken on up front by Cave Top, which is a slight concern, and I just wonder whether the ground might be a bit too soft for him tomorrow. I think his best form, his very best form's good, sort of good to soft. I don't think he'd want it much softer than that, although he did clock a perfectly good figure in March when he was 4th to Caroline here in a decent enough handicap chase. He was giving weight to all the front 3 that day, and the figures he clocked were fine. It sort of makes him look like he goes on soft. Whether he's a bet at sort of 5-6 to 1 or not, I don't know. Again, I was hoping for a little bit bigger. I'll make my mind up in the morning, I think. it might be one I can just pass over, but I think he's quite interesting. Of the other races, well, the two main races come towards the end of the card. The 305 is the 3 mile hurdle, where I want to have a bet because I want to oppose Ballyandy at 3 mile. We're leaving it reasonably late in the day to go 3 mile with Ballyandy. There's no guarantees he'll get 3 mile, simply because he's sort of running on at the end of 2.5, 2.5. I don't mean you want 3 miles, so 7 to 4 looks short enough. Indeed, you can argue a case that what I mean Harry should be favourite, really, given he's sort of been there, done that. I think it's remarkable given the amount of time that you know what I mean Harry's been around. I don't think he's ever run in this race, which is weird. He normally has his start point to the season somewhere down south, Exeter or Newbury, or I think he started off at Cheltenham once. He's never actually used this as a start point for his season. And if you're sort of saying to yourself, well, you know what I mean Harry should be favourite, and that's an 11-year-old. Surely there's something in here that can beat the pair of them. But you start going through. If the ground was decent tomorrow, I'd probably be all over the World's End, but it isn't. It's going to be soft, and you don't want soft ground, the World's End. Every time soft appears, he in the going description, he disappoints. So I can't have him. Le Breuil needed his first run last year when if his first run last year was at Huntingdon in a match when he ought to have got beat, really. He really ought to have got beat. He was sent off a 9-on chance in a match to beat Real Warrior. And if anybody's got long memories, you'll remember that Real Warrior, as he turned in, was trading at around about the sort of, I think about 1.4, something like that. He was getting much better than Le Breuil, and it was only the fact that Le Breuil's class got in there in the end. So I think he might well need his first start of the season, and we're back over hurdles anyway. And there's always the question of whether Cheltenham grueling Cheltenham races bottomed him out. So there are question marks, big question marks against these. And my bet in the race, I wish we'd got the 8, we haven't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet T's Components Lad here, 3 places on Betfair. Now, on figures, can't win, can't get anywhere near them, but he's got 1 or 2 less question marks about him than a few of these, in so much as he likes Wetherby for a start. He's run well here before. Won here last December over just short of 2.6. He's had a couple of goes at 3 miles, and both times he's had a couple of goes at 3 miles, he's sort of doing all of his best work at the finish, running on both times. And that includes here, last time out, when he would have needed the run, hadn't been seen since February. So he rocked up here just over a fortnight ago, was 4th to Jack's Last Hope that day. Again, doing plenty of good late work. Now, what you are backing is a horse that's will stay, is improving, and won't mind the ground. I don't think soft ground will be any problem to him whatsoever tomorrow. Can he win this race? No, I don't think he can. Can he finish in the first 3? Given question marks about 1 or 2 of the others, it's not impossible. So I'm going to have a very small bet, 3 places, or possibly, back him each way, 3 places with Bet365, who offer extra places for these sort of races. But either way, that's the way I'm going to play the race. I'm going to have a little bit on T's Components Lad to cause a minor upset and get himself in the frame. And then we get onto the Charlie Hall. And again, I don't know if there's a bet in the race now, because earlier in the week I was definitely going to back Topville Ben. That was the way I was going to play this. I was really taken with Topville Ben last year, and he's had 2 starts at Wetherby, and he's won those 2 starts by a combined distance of over 80 lengths. Yes, okay. They were only sort of moderate events, and there were only sort of 5 in the race each time. But my word, he doesn't half jump well around Wetherby. My worry is he might get taken on up front tomorrow. There are 1 or 2 in here that will probably go forward with him. La Bague Roi tends to be ridden prominently. Similarly, I think they'll probably go forward with Definitely Red as well tomorrow. If you knew Topville Ben was going to ping the first 2 lengths in front, I'd almost be sort of tempted to take 5 to 1 about him in running than 7 to 1 now. I do like the horse, and the more rain that comes for him tomorrow, I think the better his chance as well. It goes well fresh. That's not a problem. He won first time up last year and second time up as well, so it goes well fresh. He's just a horse I like a lot. He jumps really well, and his form stacks up. There's nothing wrong with that 3rd to Lost in Translation at Aintree. He galloped all the way to the line that day over 3-1. He kept trying and putting his head out even when he was headed sort of 2 out. He knew he was done for at that point, but he really did keep trying. A horse I like a lot, and I get that, and this will certainly be one of his early season targets, you would imagine, before going on to Staying Chasers later on in the year. So what do I bet tomorrow? I don't know yet, is the honest answer. I say, well, it's only sort of 4:30 now. The betting's starting to come through. There are some bets there I might or I might not have. Which do I like best tomorrow at the moment is a bit of a hard one to call. Oh, I was going to tell you about the one at Newmarket as well, wasn't I? Sorry, I'll quickly tell you about the one at Newmarket as well. It's a long one, this, guys. I do apologise. It's 20 minutes already. I'm sorry. I don't normally keep you this long. The 4:15 at Newmarket tomorrow. Last race. 7 furlong handicap on what promises to be testing ground. There are a lot of out of form horses here. The class horse of the field is Flying Pursuit at the top, but I'm still not entirely convinced that 7 furlongs is what he wants. Right down the bottom of the handicap, towards the foot of the handicap, the one that I'm going to have a bit each way on here at 33-1 is Chosen World, Julie Camachos, who is better known for his all-weather exploits. Newcastle is really his track. He's won 3 times there. He's only actually had 5 starts on turf, so you can argue the toss that he's actually still unexposed on turf. And you've got to go back, but of those 5 starts on turf, one of them was at Doncaster in April of last year in a 7 furlong handicap on soft ground, where he ran a really good race to finish 4th. To Bold Spirit in a lesser race than this, I'll grant you, but nevertheless a competitive 7 furlong handicap on soft ground, which sort of shows that he's probably capable tomorrow off this mark of putting up some sort of a show. He's off 72 tomorrow, which if it was an all-weather race, you'd say would be a fair mark for him. I like his chance. I think 33-1 is too big for him. He's worth a chance, and 1 or 2 of the firms are going 5 places on the race. In a race where a lot of these won't want the ground, or they're out of form, or they're looking badly handicapped now, or they've just gone at the game. So that's the way I looked at it. So a little bit each. I will be backing him each way. Chosen World in that last at Newmarket. As I say, I don't know if I've got a best bet yet. I'll be going back through again tonight while the Breeders' Cup's on, and seeing what I can find. So I'll put the bets up in the morning anyway. And best of luck, guys. I say it's been a long one today, but there was a lot to get through. So best of luck with all your bets this weekend. Enjoy the Breeders' Cup over the weekend, and I'll be back on Tuesday. Cheers, guys.